Mobile vulgus is the Latin phrase from which the word mob is said to have come. In that phrase, mob does not mean crowd. Vulgus means crowd. Mob stands for mobile. There is something vulgar about a crowd, especially when it moves, physically or emotionally. The human equivalent of a flash flood, only instead of water, it carries questionable judgment and a distinct lack of personal space and agency. Welcome to The Proxy, a new show where I, Manish Adhikary, read out a column or a text story published in India Today. This one is called The State of the Mob and the Failure of the State. It's been written by Kamlesh Singh, a columnist and satirist and former director of news with India Today Digital. On Thursday night, the Delhi metro saw a crowd surge at one station. Revelers enjoying Shab-e-Barat were seen creating quite a scene. Shab-e-Barat is supposed to be a night of solemn prayers. Apart from the flutter on social media, nothing untoward happened that night. But Delhi ran out of luck 2 nights later. A tragedy struck the New Delhi railway station. A sea of humanity travelling for a Kumbh dip was waiting for the train to Prayagraj. A disputed platform change announcement triggered a tsunami in that sea. Faith, fate, and a whole lot of frantic feet. 18 people perished and scores were injured. Humanity humbled under the hooves of the mobile vulgus. In Madhubani, Ara, Samastipur, Muzaffarpur, and other places in Bihar, men fueled by devotion and strength in numbers decided that vandalizing trains and assaulting passengers was a perfectly reasonable way to express the spiritual fervor. Excuse me, is this the direct train to Moksha? Oh, it is? Move aside, mortal. Thousands descended upon stations, terrifying travelers, trashed train windows, and stranded ticket holders in their wake. Being the most populated on the planet, India is a country of crowds. Every time you see the crowd management tools deployed by law enforcement, your faith in God is restored. At their best, they are basic. The ad hoc arrangements made by bureaucrats, however, suggest their faith lies squarely with the Almighty and perhaps a hefty dose of luck. The difference between a crowd and a mob is movement. When the movement is physical, you get what happened at Prayagraj last month and what has been happening in trains to Prayagraj since the once in 144 years Kumbh began. When the physical movement is married to the emotional, you get mob lynchings, stampedes, caste wars, and communal riots. A mob has, in the words of Thomas Fuller, many heads but no brain. Just feet in a copycat movement, trampling all in their path. The English word juggernaut comes from Lord Jagannath's chariot. When the juggernaut moves, there's no stopping. May Jagannath save you, because the government apparatus will not. It cannot. The country of crowds has not stepped up to train its personnel in crowd management, even in predictable situations. A force not trained in crowd management can barely fathom mob control. There you get a cocktail of an ill-prepared administration and ill-mannered people. Forming a queue is alien to this country. The English word is eerily similar to the Hindi word for why. Kyun? Why? As unnecessary as the UEUE in it. Individually, we are great at discipline. Together, we are incapable of following even basic rules. We have to be forced to follow rules, penalized for not doing so. The administration is aware of this sad fact. Yet, they will wake up after a tragedy has taken place once they fail to downplay the incident, now made impossible by a camera in every hand. In the aftermath, the government will order an inquiry. No accountability of officers, compensation for the soul. Inoculophobia is an irrational fear of crowds. In India, the fear is not irrational. Groups get away with murder, sometimes literally. An individual's fundamental rights can be suspended to satiate a group loud enough to force the state's hand. Democracy, yes, is the rule of the majority, but that refers to the structure of government, not a numerical nuisance bullying individuals. A large group of pilgrims crowded a compartment and made the journey hell for everyone. The police let it happen. Thousands were allowed to gather on a platform that made the stampede inevitable. A group demands a book ban, the state caves. A mob lynches someone, the state tiptoes around the issue. Most hit-and-run cases, fear of mob justice. A stand-up comic and a YouTuber get death threats offline after an online mob shuts down their businesses. The state not only agrees but prosecutes them. This sets the precedent for groups, organized ones like the All India This and That Sangathan, or the impromptu ones that form at the call of whoever decides to lead a mob. If the mob has a grievance, it is all the more righteous. Combine grievance with ideology and it's a heady cocktail. Add religion and it is a deadly mix. The vandals in Bihar knew that nothing would happen to them even if they burned the station to ashes. 50 people can block a road for a legitimate demand and inconvenience thousands of people. The state would sacrifice the fundamental rights of thousands of individuals to uphold the democratic right to protest of a dozen people. India has a mob problem. Our politicians are not serious about bringing about a fundamental behavioral change 75 years into the making of a new India. Collecting a crowd is the easiest thing in India. This ease of collecting a crowd powers its politics. We have a multiplicity of rules compounded by a paucity of adherence. Everyone feels free in a free-for-all. While it is not yet absolute lawlessness, it is a controlled chaos of sorts. At times the control is let go of. Sometimes things go out of control. An inquiry is ordered. Often, the treatment of a mob's crime is a joke, and an individual's joke is treated as a crime. You just heard a column written by Kamlesh Singh, published on the India Today website on 17 February 2025. Please share the video if you liked it. Thanks for watching The Proxy with Manish Adhikary.